Welcome to Broncos Weekend, presented by Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
Hello and welcome to Broncos Weekend. I'm your host and Denver Broncos team reporter Elisa Hernandez, and in the studio we have Denver 7's Bradey King and former Bronco and ESPN analyst Orlando Franklin, and later on Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and Denver Broncos lead writer Aric DiLalla will join the show. The Broncos get the series sweep versus the Raiders in Week 12 and now take that momentum into primetime as they look ahead to Monday Night Football against the Cleveland Browns. In their final game before the bye week, the Broncos look to notch 8 wins by Week 13 for the first time since 2016. How big does a win in Las Vegas help you when you're going into a primetime matchup? I mean, you're getting off a big divisional win.
I think it helps a lot. You know, Broncos, Raiders, that matchup, that rivalry for many, many years. But to be able to sweep them, that's a huge thing. And that matters to the football team. You know, every single year when I was a member of the Denver Broncos, we thought about beating the Raiders and trying to embarrass them. So the Broncos were able to accomplish that by getting the sweep.
Yeah, look, Elisa, you mentioned it, momentum. I think that's huge here. The Broncos needed it, and they have it going into a Monday Night Football game against the Browns. Sweeping the Raiders, getting that divisional win was huge, and the Broncos have that momentum, which is hard to get, but when you have it, you got to let it ride. So
yes, it was one of those games that you wanted the Broncos to get their first win in Las Vegas. I asked Jonathan Cooper after practice, I said, how was Vegas? And he said, it was a lot of fun. That flight home was a lot of fun. And I know for them, as you're kind of going into this matchup against the Browns are a sneaky team. I mean, they just came off a big primetime win against the Steelers.
Yeah. When you have a new quarterback, right, and Deshaun Watson goes down and now it's Jameis Winston, now it becomes a situation where you're seeing a lot of things on film for the first time. So the Broncos have to continue to adjust and get after it at the end of the day. You got to play the same football that you've been playing the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and that's together. That's feeding off of each other, make the plays that come to you, and really trusting the guys that are around you. If they do that, they'll find success.
Yeah, this is another game the Broncos should win, just like last week was, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? I think they're going to have to go in right with the right mindset. They've got Myles Garrett on the other side, who had 3 sacks against the Steelers, and obviously the Browns were able to pull out that win. So they've shown that they can pull off an upset. I think the Broncos have that in mind. They know this is not going to be easy by any means, but it's possible, and I think the Browns are a big challenge regardless of their record.
Yeah, and Bo Nix definitely got experience having to escape Max Crosby last week. Well, head coach Sean Payton has experience with Cleveland Browns quarterback Jameis Winston, having coached him and played against him. After practice, he spoke on game planning against Winston ahead of Monday Night Football.
Look, he's got tremendous arm strength. He can get the ball down the field. He can get rid of it, and he can still slide up in the pocket and run. But you're defending the system and the offense and what we're currently seeing, and then we look at the body of work. But I don't know that there's anything I'm sharing with the defense that's significant. You kind of see it on tape.
Oh, you mentioned just staying within your game, and this defense has definitely put out a clinic on putting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I think Vance Joseph has done an excellent job this year. He's really getting everything out of each player, and you know, think about it. That's what coaching is. Coaching is understanding your players and their ability and putting them in the right position to give them an opportunity to succeed. So I think Vance is dialing it up, and these guys are really playing for him because of how he's calling the defense.
They're bought into Vance Joseph's game plan, and I think you're seeing that. You got Jonathan Cooper getting after it. Nick Bonito, obviously, 10 sacks, second in the league in sacks. I mean, that's huge. And I think it all goes back to Vance Joseph and how he's got these guys attacking.
Yeah, they're all seem to be playing at a very Pro Bowl level season. It's hard to pick which guy you're really going to defend against because the entire defensive line is really impressive. Well, going into Week 13, the Broncos lead the NFL in sacks with 44 and are one of the top defenses in the league. Earlier this week, I caught up with defensive tackle Malcolm Roach as he prepares for primetime. Coming off a big divisional win, you now turn your attention to the bright lights of primetime on Monday Night Football. This defense leads the NFL in sacks. How have you guys been so effective in getting after the quarterback?
I think, first of all, it starts with VJ. VJ been doing a great job of coming up with a good scheme every week, and he's finding a way to get us in one-on-one situations. And at the end of the day, I think we got very good players, you know, especially on the outside. And with Zach and Jeff Philman, they just make a lot of things easier. We're able to get one-on-ones, and everybody's feeding off of it.
Brandon Jones returns. He gets a big interception. Nick Bonito gets a strip sack. You get the fumble recovery on that. What can you say about their performances and how you guys all complement each other?
It's big because at the end of the day, we know we have a good secondary. So if they're able to take the quarterback off his first read, we know we possibly going to get home or get pressure, and vice versa. If we're able to get to the quarterback, we're able to get him to throw errant throws and get interception, things like that. So we feed off each other pretty good. And like I always say, we got a group that love playing together, and it shows on the field.
You spoke briefly about Vance Joseph. What is it about his defense that has brought out the best in you?
Just attacking. He lets me attack, just cause havoc. He also knows everything's not going to be right, but if we're doing things 100 miles an hour, we're gonna mess up something for the other team. So he understands like we're gonna make mistakes. It's not a perfect game we play. He lets us play.
It's the last game before the bye week, a much well-deserved bye week. How do you guys stay focused?
Because we still have a task at hand, especially with what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get to the playoffs right now. And we got a pretty good team. They're rolling right now. With Jameis, got them rolling. And they have one of the best pass rushers ever, Myles Garrett. So we know we got to come ready with our hands full and got to be ready to handle business Monday night.
Monday night, you said it. It's a big game, all eyes on you. Does it add extra motivation?
Yeah, anytime you get a chance to play in prime time, it's big, and we haven't had many of those games this year, so we want to go out and put out a good showing for the fan base, for this state, and just for us, and going to that bye week with a winning taste in our mouth, and get ready to finish this home stretch of the season.
Well, we're excited to see the show. Appreciate your time. See you on Monday night.
All right, thank you.
This is the Broncos' last game before the bye week, a late bye week at that, and much deserved for this team. But the focus has to remain on handling business on Monday.
Absolutely, right? I mean, it's Bronco country. You get a home game here, the whole entire world. I think the focus gets magnified 10 times more when you play in these primetime games, right? So Cleveland's going to come out here and they're going to try to take care of business. Historically, they haven't done good here playing in the Mile High. So if you're the Denver Broncos football team, you don't worry about records. You don't worry about who you're playing against. You worry about the Denver Broncos. Executed what Sean Payton's calling. See if you could get explosive and change the field or create a short field of special teams and continue to dial up and do what Vance Joseph is telling you to do. And that's the keys to success for the Broncos.
Just play free.
That's what we've been seeing all year.
Absolutely. And obviously there's a lot at stake as they continue to try to solidify a spot in the playoffs. But I don't think they can think about that, right? Sean Payton said there's a balance between trying to keep a young team confident, but also not getting ahead of themselves. And so I feel like this upcoming Monday is all they care about, right? They can't look to that bye week, though. I imagine that'll be nice, relaxing, exciting.
Yeah.
But they want to go into that bye week off a win.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what you do as well? If you're Sean Payton, tell them, hey, get the win. You get 4 days off consecutively, right? Instead of just the mandatory 3, right? In the NFL. So you get 4 of those days off.
Yeah, like Roach said, they want to have a good taste in their mouth going into the bye week. Well, when we come back, Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and Denver Broncos lead writer Aric DiLalla will join Broncos Weekend and break down the dominant play of wide receiver Courtland Sutton. Plus, we have the numbers you need to know ahead of Week 13. All that after the break.
Bank better with Broncos checking from Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
Clearly, we view him as one of our top skilled guys that has reliable, strong hands in traffic, and then it's moving him around and trying to find the right matchups.
Welcome back to Broncos Weekend. That was head coach Sean Payton talking about the significance of having wide receiver Courtland Sutton as part of the offense. Since Week 7, Sutton has been playing some of his best football. Following his Week 12 performance, he eclipsed 5,000 receiving yards in his career. For more, let's send it over to Hall of Famer Steve Atwater and lead writer on DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla.
Thanks, Elisa. And this week, with the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, we're going to talk about a guy who is leading the NFL in receiving yards since Week 8. Steve, that's Courtland Sutton.
Yes, Courtland Sutton, I don't know what he's done to his game, but he's sure playing at a high level right now. One example here, this touchdown play, as you see, the defense is giving kind of a cover 2, cover 4 look there. But once the safety comes up, now Bo Nix, he starts licking his chops like, yes, Courtland Sutton is man-to-man over here with this cornerback, and he can take advantage of that. And as you'll see, Bo Nix is going to drop back, and just the lane opens up. Mike McGlinchey and Quinn Miners opens up a little gap there for him to see through, and Courtland Sutton runs a beautiful route here and just goes up, And we've seen Courtland do this time and time again, make these 50-50 catches turn into 80-20 catches, but just a beautiful play by him. What did you like about that play, AD?
Yeah, Steve, well, I just think Sutton makes plays, right? And if you go back over the last couple of years, only 2 guys in the NFL have scored touchdowns in more games than Courtland Sutton. So he just finds a way to make a play, and you help your rookie out by going up and getting that ball, right?
Yes, absolutely. Just, again, a great play by Courtland Sutton. A great play by the offensive line, also holding off long enough for Bo to get that ball up there. And Bo did a great job of putting enough air on the ball in order for Courtland to go up and get it.
Oh, just dropped it right in there. Just a little nice touch on it. All right, Steve, well, that was a big play, obviously. It gave the Broncos their first touchdown of the game, put them back in the lead against the Raiders. What else you got for us here from Courtland?
All right, later in the third quarter, we had another third down play where Courtland made another exceptional catch and exceptional route here. We'll see Courtland's lined up at the top of the screen. And what he wants to do, he wants to get this cornerback to turn his back and get out of his back pedal and run. And as soon as he does that, Courtland stops on the dime, is able to get the cornerback to go past him. I don't know how he does that, but maybe just a little bit of a shove there. All receivers do that. Again, a great play on his part, knowing the intricacies of the route and what he has to do in order to get open. And as you'll see, Bo Nix just puts the ball right on the money. Before Courtland Sutton turned around, the ball was already on his way. So Bo Nix let that ball go, not knowing 100% sure where Courtland Sutton was going to be, but they're on the same page and just made a great play.
And we've seen that time and time again, right, with Bo Nix and Courtland Sutton, those dagger routes in the middle of the field that Bo trusts that Courtland Sutton is going to be in the right place. You only develop that with practice, with in-game reps, and what you love there is he's selling it deep, right? That guy's not going to keep going.
You got to sell it deep. If you don't sell it deep, it's no good. Courtland Sutton made him think he was going deep and is able to come back to the ball, and Bo Nix put it right there low, and Courtland went down and got it. Nobody else could have caught that pass but Courtland.
So that is, another great route by Courtland Sutton. A big third down conversion, right? Bo Nix 3 times in the third quarter on one drive went boom, Courtland Sutton, boom, Courtland Sutton, boom, Courtland Sutton.
This is a go-to guy,
He's
right?
his guy on third down, and Courtland 6 catches for 78 yards in a touchdown just in the third quarter alone.
Yeah, Courtland Sutton has really improved his route running over the years, and this is another example of that. It's a third and short. You don't want to throw the ball deep. You want to get the first down here. And as you'll see, the safeties are showing that, hey, this is a man-to-man coverage. This guy has the middle of the field. This safety is showing that he's going to be covering Lucas Kroll over here. And Bo Nix is like, okie dokie, you're going to let me do it. I'll do it. And Courtland Sutton here, again, runs a great route, gets the cornerback turned, and then turns around and catches the pass. Just another first down, another excellent play, excellent route. Offensive line did a great job of protecting Bo Nix long enough for him to get that pass off.
Steve, how important is it for Bo to have somebody like Courtland that you know you can go to in those moments, that if it's third and short, it's a key play, you're trailing in the game, that you know, hey, if I throw it to this guy, he's going to make a play?
You know how it is. When it gets cold at night, you got to have that warm blanket. And I think that's Bo Nix's warm blanket. Courtland Sutton, just knowing that he'll come through in clutch situations.
70 receiving yards or more in each of the last 5 games. So he's on a roll right now, and it's been fun to watch Courtland Sutton play. Elisa, with that, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, guys. The Broncos swept the season series against the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 12 and now return home to face the Cleveland Browns on Monday Night Football. The Broncos are entering their final game before their bye week and are in the hunt for a win in order to improve to 8-5 on the season. We crunched the stats for Week 13 and found the numbers you need to know. Quarterback Bo Nix leads the NFL with an 8-0 touchdown to interception ratio since Week 10. Nix is also tied for the most wins among rookie quarterbacks with 7 and leads all rookies with 16 passing touchdowns. Behind the strong performance of their rookie quarterback, the Broncos look to keep pace in the AFC playoff race. 3 of Denver's 5 remaining games are against teams chasing them in the wildcard race. According to Next Gen Stats, the Broncos have a 64.4% chance to make the playoffs. That number increases to 73.6% if they get a win in Week 13. This season at Empower Field at Mile High, the Broncos are averaging 24.4 points per game, and 6 of the Broncos' 7 total wins have been by 10-plus points. A big part of Denver's recent success is the play of veteran wide receiver Courtland Sutton. Since Week 8, Sutton leads the NFL with 467 receiving yards and has 70-plus receiving yards in each of the last 5 games. We may see him lined up with Browns cornerback Denzel Ward. Ward leads the NFL with 17 passes defended in 2024. This season, he is also allowing a 50 completion percentage as the nearest defender, which is tied for third lowest among all players with 40-plus targets. Another target is rookie wideout Devon Vele. Vele is coming off a Week 12 performance where he recorded a new career-high 80 receiving yards on 6 receptions. Denver's defense leads the NFL with 44 sacks in 2024. The Broncos recorded 5 sacks in Week 12, including one by Nick Bonito. Bonito now has 10 sacks on the season and becomes the first Bronco since 2018 to record double-digit sacks in a season. The Broncos have the highest blitz percentage in the NFL. Looking at Cleveland's offense, when blitz, Browns QB Jameis Winston has 3 passing TDs, 0 interceptions, and an 121.2 passer rating in 2024. The defense will also see a familiar face in Browns wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Jeudy has led Cleveland in receiving yards in each of their last 2 games. He recorded 80-plus receiving yards in both. Denver's defense will also look to hold running back Nick Chubb to below 60 rushing yards for the 6th consecutive week. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in Week 12. The Broncos have allowed fewer than 20 points in 9 games in 2024. And more notably, this season at home, the Broncos defense is allowing an average of 14.8 points per game, which is the lowest in the NFL. When we come back, Denver 7's Bradey King will have your fantasy focus for Week 13, and we'll reveal which players our analysts believe will call game. All that and more when we come back.
Welcome back into Broncos Weekend. It is time for Fantasy Focus. This week, it's all about the rookie. No, not Bo Nix, but one of his wide receivers, Devon Vele. Vele is really starting to make a name for himself in a deep Denver receiver room. The rookie is coming off his most productive game of the year with 6 catches for 80 yards against the Las Vegas Raiders, which earned him a career-high 14 fantasy football points. So far this season, Vele has been targeted 41 times. He has 32 receptions for 361 yards and a touchdown. Vele is averaging 10.6 fantasy points per game when he runs a route on at least 60% of Bo Nix's dropbacks. Now, it's clear Courtland Sutton has been the top target in the passing game for good reason. But as teams start to key in on that connection, others will have to step up. Enter Devon Vele. Heading into Week 13, this is a good week to target Vele on the waiver wire as the Broncos prepare to face the Cleveland Browns, whose secondary has allowed the 5th most points to opposing wide receivers. So go get Devon Vele if he's available. As for the Browns receivers, Broncos country will see a familiar face in Jerry Jeudy. We caught up with outside linebacker Jonathan Cooper about what it will be like going up against his former teammate in primetime.
I can't wait to see Jerry again. He's having a great year this year. He's doing his thing. So, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his situation and everything like that. But, yeah, I can't wait to see him and, maybe get a few licks in.
So far this season, they've seen a lot of familiar faces. Justin Simmons was just here, and now they get to welcome Jerry Jeudy back. And, of course, they want to hand him that L.
Absolutely. And Jerry Jeudy's been impressive in Cleveland, specifically the past few weeks. Him and Jameis Winston, I feel like, have started to build their chemistry. So it is nice for the Broncos going in, kind of knowing a little bit what to expect from both of those players. But still, it's always a gamble. I mean, it's a different offense. So Sean Payton, they had a little bit to go off of, but still it will be interesting. But, of course, Courtland Sutton, Jonathan Cooper, they're all excited to see Jerry, which will be fun.
I want to double down on what Jonathan Cooper said at the end, get his licks in, right? I mean, you don't get an opportunity to hit Jerry Jeudy when he's your teammate, right? And you want to root for him and you want him to do it well, but you do all your handshaking and you keep it friendly at the start of the game, but once that whistle blows, you get after it. So we're going to see Jonathan Cooper like 30 yards down the field chasing Jerry Jeudy. Now, I like it because now you get that little bit of that bragging rights. It's nice to have that back and forth banter, but when you get an opportunity to jack up one of your teammates or former teammates or buddies, you got to take advantage of it.
Healthy competition.
Yeah, Cooper said it's all fair in love and war. And I think once you kind of go on that field, you kind of have that dynamic. Now, going into your fantasy focus, you talked about Devon Vele. He's coming off a career high in receiving yards from the Raiders game. When you look at his production, there's some high praise from Sean Payton. He had said he wants to find a way to get him more involved in the offense. What have you seen from the young guy?
Just a young guy that's super talented. I think that it's honestly been a little bit of a disservice to him playing so many guys early in the season, clearly Bo Nix is getting more and more comfortable as the season goes on, but you're seeing Courtland Sutton and Vele be his two top favorite targets. And he has the ability to go over the middle. He runs over the middle with no fear. He can create separation, and he can handle this playbook at the NFL level. So I want more of him, as much more of him as we could get. But he has come in, and hats off to him. He's taking care of business since day one.
Shout out the rookie.
Look, the Broncos receiver room's pretty deep, but I feel like Devon Bailey is starting to separate himself, potentially being that number 2 guy. Obviously, Court, for good reason, has been the top target as of late, but as teams start to key in on him more, I feel like Vele's stepping up and proving to be a great target for Bo, and they're building that chemistry as well.
Yeah, these young receivers definitely have a good role model to look up to in Courtland Sutton. Well, it's time to call game. Each week, our amazing guests will pick a player that they think will play well against the upcoming matchup and call game. It is week 13, and this team is hosting the Cleveland Browns in primetime on Monday Night Football. So, I got to start with you. Who do you have calling game?
I got to go with Marvin Mims. I think Sean Payton has been just getting more and more creative each and every week. We're seeing him have such a big impact play that has a direct effect on the outcome of the game. And, man, if you could continue to do that, I love when he's in the backfield. Defensive coordinators have no idea which way he's going to do it. It really puts a bind on the back end of defenses when you have a fast guy like that. So we've seen Sean Payton do it to Darren Sproles, right? And Darren Sproles caught 40% of his catches in his 14-year career in his 3 years under Sean Payton in New Orleans. We saw what Sean Payton did with Jimmy Graham. We saw what he did to Taysom Hill. And now it's Marvin Mims. He continues to get better and better. So that's got to be my guy.
Ooh, good pick.
All right, I'm going with Courtland Sutton, guys. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? 2 touchdowns last week. He said after the game that him and Bo Nix are not even scratching the surface yet of what those two can do together. So that's exciting to me. And I think going up against a Browns team that has not done the best against receivers, their secondary has allowed quite a few touchdowns. I think this is going to be Court and maybe Marvin Mims week as well.
All right, a little wide receiver action out there. Well, there you have it. We will see on Sunday who calls game for Denver 7's Bradey King, former Bronco and ESPN analyst Orlando Franklin, Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, and Denver Broncos lead writer Aric DiLalla. It was a full show this week. I am your host and team reporter Elisa Hernandez, and this is Broncos Weekend. We'll see you next week.